with you. I'm a little tired, a little bit burned out. I need some time off, time to myself. Frankly, a little bit of time away from you. The week before Christmas, the week of Christmas, sometimes even the week after Christmas are very bizarre weeks in this particular business. I guess it's because there are only two kinds of Christmases, good Christmases and bad Christmases, and people who are having good ones are kind of busy and rushing about, and people who are having bad ones don't mind sharing their misery with other people. And you can get some very strange calls and some very strange conversations during a week like this. It's also a time when it's more difficult to do whatever the hell it is that I do. So I didn't want to be here this week. And then I turned on the radio this morning. Well, guess what? Diaz wasn't on again, and Bennington was struggling. I'd heard it before. I've known for some time that there was something wrong around here. I mean, you could see it, you could feel it, you could hear it if you knew what to listen for. I didn't know what in the hell it was, but I knew that there was something wrong around here. See, I'm an outsider. I'm not a network employee. I'm not an old-timer from the 95 YNF days. I'm not a member of the social group. I just work around these people, you know? I don't know them very well, but I like them. And I just knew that something was wrong. It had been coming on for a couple of months at least. I even teased them about it. I poked and I prodded a little bit, you know, pushed the line to see if anybody would spill their guts. Nobody did. I even talked to the Muffy about it at home. People would gossip in the halls. They would speculate on this, speculate on that. It was painfully clear that something was wrong, awfully wrong. So you try to piece together what you knew and try to piece together what somebody else knew and put it all together and try to figure it out. And, well, we were wrong. Very, very wrong. No one came close to guessing what the problem was. I mean, even at the Christmas party, you could tell. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't feel right. Driving home, my wife said how surprised she was that it wasn't more of a wild, more of a crazy party. I mean, Bennington was there with his family, and he was up on his feet all night long, going from table to table, trying to make funnies and trying to make light. Diaz was there. Sat pretty much in one place, at least the entire time that I was there. In deep conversation with Riviera John, is that the guy's name from the deli? He was quiet, almost removed. I didn't see his wife. I'm told today that she was there, but I didn't know it. I've never met her. It was the only time to the best of my knowledge, I've ever even been in the same building with her, and I didn't even know it. But Diaz was there. And yet he was obviously alone, obviously very, very alone. I don't know him very well at all, to tell you the truth. I think I've mentioned that before. I hardly ever see him. I've only talked to him briefly. I probably spend more time talking to the average caller than I have spent talking to Ron Diaz in my entire life. I do remember the first time I met him. We were both walking into the building at the same time. I was a little bit ahead of him. I had seen pictures of him, so I knew who he was. But we had never been introduced. And I don't know if he had ever seen a picture of me. He didn't give any indication that he knew who I was. And I started up the steps to come up to the second floor. And one of the maintenance people came over to him and welcomed him back to the building. And he kind of stood there and looked around. It was kind of a private moment that I was eavesdropping on. But I remember it. I remember it very well. I'm just a listener too, I guess. Although different from you, because I listen for different things. I hear different things than you do. I have the utmost respect for the boys in the show that they do in the morning. I stand in awe of Bennington's comedic ability and his mind, and Diaz is so very, very cool, man. I mean, so much in control of the situation. It all sounds so natural, and yet it's all a work. A couple of guys I always enjoyed watching, because I knew how and what was going on. I knew that there was bedlam and mayhem all over the place and confusion. Cleveland Wheeler, when he was over at the Q Zoo, and there were 45 people running around and all kinds of crap going on, and Ron Diaz. Because I knew there were all kinds of... They were both kind of like field generals, you know? Conducting the war. And very, very calm and very much in control. And doing this for a living, I have great respect for that. So this morning when I tuned in, I could hear trouble in the air, man. I could hear the gloom. And then Bennington says that he can't keep it from the audience anymore, that there is something wrong and he just can't keep it from the audience anymore. And I sat there and I slapped my thigh and I said, aha! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! He said it was going to be a while before he told you what it was. Be coming up a little bit later on in the show. And I'm sitting there at my keyboard, and all kinds of stuff is running through my mind. All the things that I'd heard in the halls here, Bennington told you about them, they're all true. Speculation about Diaz on drugs, speculation about Diaz being a drunk, speculation about this, speculation about that, some problems in the network, maybe a little bit, too much of this, a little bit too much of that, disagreement with this, disagreement with that. Diaz is, pulling a power play here. You don't do it my way. I don't come in. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. And then the bomb hits. Oh, my God. Did he say full-blown AIDS? Oh, my God. Damn it. Damn it. No. Oh, no. No. Like I said, I never met the lady. And to the best of my knowledge this morning, I'd never even been in the same room with her. I know nothing about her. Hell, I don't know her husband. But I hurt for them. I hurt for them real bad. I'm sitting there in kind of a state of shock, and the words are coming out of Bennington's mouth, and Bennington's in pain, and it's great radio. Oh, God, it was great radio. Please forgive me for having thoughts like that, but you know what the hell it is, what I do for a living. It's how I put the beans in the pot, and I certainly appreciate great radio. See, great radio is always real life. And it's real life, all right, and it hurts. Full-blown AIDS, full-blown AIDS. The words just hang there. From everything I know, it's a death sentence. Oh, yes, there are cases. There are cases of miraculous reversals. They're few and they're far between. And there are whispers every now and then about a new drug or a new treatment, but they never quite seem to pan out. Full-blown AIDS just hangs in the air. And I'm listening, there are tears in my eyes. Tears for a woman I've never met. Tears for a man I hardly know. Maybe the tears are for the times that we live in. Times that I don't understand. Times that nobody understands. Times that seem to be changing so rapidly without any rhyme, without any reason. Nobody seems to have any control. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, there are a gazillion people with AIDS, man. A gazillion people. But there are no tears for them in my eyes. I'm thinking I'm probably not the only one with tears in my eyes this morning. But again, with very few exceptions, there are no tears in the eyes of those people for the other gazillion with AIDS. Oh, okay, I did cry for Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. An actor portraying somebody with AIDS in a movie. I sat there and cried like a fool. But I, like almost everybody else, managed to avoid the tears for all those other people, for the gazillion people who were stricken with that disease. People from all walks of life, people from all persuasions, people with families, people without, people with hopes, people with dreams, people without hopes and dreams, people, human beings. Something very deep inside of me is changing, a hardening of the old heart, a callousness that sometimes bothers me and sometimes it doesn't bother me. And it seems that I have an awful lot of company these days in the country that I live in and the world that I live in. It's becoming so much easier to simply blame the victim. It happens to me. Happens to a lot of you. I can't really remember how or when it was that I first heard about AIDS. Doesn't really matter, I guess. It didn't really affect me very much. I mean, I wasn't in one of the high-risk groups, and I do remember doing a show on it. As a matter of fact, I remember doing a lot of shows on it back at WPLP. It was a good hot button. The old farts, they really loved talking about it. Hell, one day I even had some older people in the studio, and there was this one older woman I remember vividly on my show on PLP who said that she no longer went to the hairdressers. Said, "Oh, I won't go to the hairdressers because you know how they are, and I wouldn't want to use the same bathroom." I remember mocking and ridiculing her. It was good radio, but AIDS, wasn't really my problem. It was just good radio. I worried about the handful of gay friends that I knew. I worried very much about them. I remember talking to Neil Rogers one night. And Neil Rogers was deeply, deeply upset because he had lost yet another acquaintance. I remember worrying for him. I remember when I was still working in Miami, if Neil would have a cold or if Neil wouldn't be feeling terribly good, we would talk amongst ourselves. Do you think he's okay? Think there's anything wrong? We worried for him. But it wasn't really my problem. I'm not gay. I don't shoot up drugs. God knows I'm long past my wild and crazy casual sex days. It's not really my problem, man. Somehow I managed to escape getting the damn disease. I don't even personally know anybody who has it. It's 18 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock.
Catch the Ron and Ron Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on AM 620 WSUN.
When you're looking to please everyone on your holiday list, you can't beat Computer City.
AM 620 WSUN, entertaining talk radio for the 90s.
So Bennington finishes telling the story, and I get up from my chair and I go into the bedroom. And my wife is getting dressed. And I said, well, I knew there was something wrong. And she said, what? And I told her. And she put down her comb and she looked at me and she said, oh my God, no. She was very upset. She doesn't know the woman either. She's only met Bennington once. Excuse me, Diaz once. Full-blown AIDS. See, most of the people I know now lead relatively charmed lives. Most of the people I know now they have it made, man. Most of the people I know have a little bit of money, meat gigs, nice homes, cool cars, pretty ladies. Most of the people I know don't sweat phone bills and dentist bills and all the things that almost everybody else sweats. Most of the people I know are above the day-to-day hassles of life. Most of the people I know are the kind of people that other people dream about being. Successful, cool, hip, above it all. Me and my friends, hell man, we've escaped. But Bennington said full-blown AIDS. Those god-awful words. And somehow it all came home in a hurry. See, nobody's above it all. Nobody really ever escapes anything. We're all in the same damn boat, like it or not. Sometimes we kid ourselves, but we're all in the same damn boat. It only appears that some of us are immune. It's so easy to sit back and judge, isn't it? And so damn tempting. I guess judging others is the new national sport in this country, pointing fingers, pronouncing whatever affliction has befallen some poor slob to be his own doing. And certainly his own problem. Not mine, man. We forget just how much luck has to do with it all. Good luck and bad luck. We claim our own good luck as almost a birthright. We denounce somebody else's bad luck as a result of their own misdoing. That's not the way it really is. Hey, man, stuff happens, you know? Stuff happens to good people. To everyone. At any time. When you least expect it. I guess that's what they call life. It's Debbie Diaz's turn now. And we all feel just awful. Even me. And I don't even know her. But I hurt. Hurt so bad. For Ron Diaz, who I hardly know. I hurt for Bennington, who I kind of know. But all the hurt won't help now. All the sympathy, all the concern. What will be, will be. And no one can alter that. But there is something that I can do. There is something that you can do. We can be just as concerned for all the other people who have been stricken. That's what we can do. I mean, we can cut the crap, man, and we can stop speculating on the hows and the whys of the disease and concentrate on cure and concentrate on easing the discomfort, on easing the suffering, real and emotional. That's what we can do. Would it be silly? Would it be trite to suggest that cutting the crap insofar as how we look at this affliction might be a gift to Diaz and his wife? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to be cute or sappy or corny. I'm very touched by all of this. I'm very deeply moved by it. There's something else that keeps going round and round and round in my mind, something that you probably can't understand. I'll try to explain it to you best as I can. I've told you before, this is a neat job, man. This is a neat job. Oh, my God. This is a dream. Don't get your hands dirty. Rarely work up a sweat. Good days are great. Okay, so the bad days aren't all that much fun, but it's still, hey, man, it beats working. There are a lot of benefits that come with this job. Being known, having favors done for you, people cut you deals, people smooth out the rough road for you. But there's a price, too. The people around you, the private people around you, wives and children and mothers and fathers and girlfriends and boyfriends, the people around you, they're somehow drug into the spotlight, too. They're not used to it. And so this morning and this afternoon, we're talking about a private person going through a personal hell. It's not easy. All of the television stations have already shown up. It will be on the news tonight for sure. A woman who 24 hours ago was Debbie Diaz. Diaz. You any relationship to that? I'm not a joiner or an activist. And I'm not about to become one either, by the way. I'm not going to make a quilt. I'm not going to join a march. I'm not going to wear a ribbon. It's not my style, man. I don't know what in the hell I'm going to do. But I am going to try to pay more attention to this goddamn disease. I'm going to try to be a little bit less callous and a little bit less judgmental. And I guess all I'm really trying to say is that if you could find it in your heart to do something similar, maybe, just maybe, it would be the best possible gift that you could send to Ron and Debbie. Because along with the personal grief and the concern that comes with this disease, it also brings a stigma. A stigma that they also have to worry about. No one who has ever been diagnosed with AIDS should ever have to carry the burden of worrying about, wondering about what other people think, what other people will say, what kind of an effect it's going to have on their lives and the lives of all the people who touch them. Does that make any sense? Cards and letters and flowers, they're all very nice. But something that's real, something that comes from inside, something that could make a difference, that would be real nice. nice. That would be a nice way of saying, it's not much, but I want you to have it as a token, as a gesture. I don't want anyone else in your position to have the additional burden of worrying about what other people may say or think. It's 29 minutes after 2.
Hooters on the radio. Weekday mornings 10 to 2 p.m. on AM 620 WSUN. Entertaining talk radio for the 90s.
So,
2:32 is the time. I am very glad that how or why Debbie Diaz contracted this disease never came up on the show. It shouldn't have. It doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is helping her get through it and helping other people from going through it. There simply is no room anymore for speculation. But there is a need, a desperate need for education about this disease and about how it is contracted, about how it is passed along. No longer can we pussyfoot around it just because it makes some people uncomfortable. I'm going to speak very, very bluntly to give you an idea as to precisely what it is that I'm talking about, okay? I'm not trying to be titillating. I'm not trying to be crude. But I'm going to speak very, very bluntly. I'm going to talk in terms that we must start talking in. I'm going to talk about things that our young people, before they are exposed to situations, must know about. As an example, we talk about safe sex. Safe sex generally is thought to mean the use of a condom. Well, let's be real blunt here, okay? You can have sexual intercourse day and night with someone who has the AIDS virus, never using a condom and never contracting it, provided there is no exchange of body fluids from the infected individual to the non-infected. But you can masturbate someone and do it too roughly, break the skin, and if you should have a cut on your hand, pass the AIDS virus. People have to know that. Young people have to know that. If this was television, I'd show you my hand. There's a scratch on my finger. See my nails? They're sharp. And what is normally referred to as foreplay, that could be a dangerous combination. Our young people have to know that in no uncertain terms. The time to gloss over things, the time to be cute about things, the time to dance around things, the time to say, oh, just say no, is long past. There simply is no room to tolerate people who would suppress education, who would block funding. There is no room for people whose personal prejudices would prolong or spread the misery and the grief and the anguish and the suffering. Young people must know everything. Yes, everything about this disease. They must know exactly how and why it is spread and what can be done to stop it. There must be no words minced, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes some of us. If it takes explicit detail, then explicit details must be forthcoming. I mean, damn it, man, if it takes pictures and diagrams, then so be it. If it takes no-hold-barred questions and answer sessions, then let them begin. And maybe, just maybe, if we had approached this realistically 10 years ago, then there would have been no need for the announcement that was made on this radio station earlier this morning. Maybe. There's no getting around the fact, the undeniable fact, that most of us looked at this as, oh, the gay plague, and it didn't bother us all that much. We were warned warned that we were wrong. We were told that we were kidding ourselves, and still we ignored it. We spent our energies gossiping and speculating and spreading rumors and sometimes even outright lies. We looked the other way. There is a fair possibility that had that not been the case, then this morning's announcement might never have been made. We all have that to live with. Next Friday, I will spend the entire show talking to you about Christmas. It's something I do every year. It's something I look forward to, and it's something that some of you look forward to. Along the way, I will make you smile, and I will make you cry. I will bring back memories. And while my Christmas experiences are totally unique to me, we will discover before the day is over that we have far more in common than we thought. You see, we seem to spend far more time accentuating our differences and glossing over our similarities than we should. You know, Debbie could be your wife or your daughter. She could be you. I've never met her, but I'm sure that she's a young woman with hopes and dreams, with much to live for. I'm sure that she has known some disappointments in life and some victories. I'm sure that she laughs and cries. I'm sure that she has favorite foods and colors and movies and songs. I'm sure that she has special places and special people. Without even having met her, I know all these things about her because we all share these things. Every man, every woman, every straight, every gay, every non-HIV human being, every HIV-positive human being. We all have far, far, far more in common than we have in opposition. The things that separate us are relatively minor when compared to what we all share. And that is what we must dwell on in the future. What we are tempted, when we are tempted to pass judgment, when we are tempted to look down our noses at other people, we've got to remember, hey, stuff happens, man. But for the grace, AIDS happened, bad luck happens, poverty happens, and but for the grace of God, there go I. But for the grace of God, there go I. It's a cliche. But like all cliches, there is much truth in it. We can argue for endless hours on the meaning of God and the source of God and so forth and so on, but there's no argument when it comes to admitting that anything can happen to anyone at any time. Unexplainable things. And keeping that in mind, it is stupid to point fingers, and it is stupid to allow people to have fallen on hard times to suffer alone, to blame them for their own misfortune. If we could remember that, if we could try to live our lives with that in mind at all times, then maybe it would be a nice gift to Ron and his Debbie. It can't and it won't make the sadness, the emotional strain, or the physical discomfort any less. But it could free up limited resources squandered on wondering what other people will think. How the disease will affect the show, how it will affect the lives of the people who are involved. It could free them up to fight the fight, to beat it, to get better. Please, please give them that much. And while you're at it, give everyone who has to deal with life's lousy hands the same consideration. Please. Let me give you the telephone numbers. In Pinellas, it's 576-WSUN. 576-WSUN. In Hillsborough, it's 221-WSUN. 221-WSUN. All other areas, toll-free. 1-800-356-WSUN. It's 241
AM 620 WSUN. Entertaining talk radio for the 90s.
The Lakeland element.
Oh, people's sensitivities are far more important. But the disease continues to spread. That is intolerable. That is unacceptable. And it is not necessary, provided we deal with it honestly and bluntly. Provided. I don't know what else I can possibly say to you. But if you were moved, if you are moved, if you were saddened by the news, if you are troubled by the news, then you owe it to everybody concerned to not just sit back and keep your mouth shut anymore. Don't you? I told you I'm not an activist. I'm not asking you to be an activist. If you want to make a quilt, go ahead, make a quilt. I don't know what the hell good it does. If you want to walk around with a red ribbon on your lapel, go ahead, walk around with a red ribbon on your lapel. I don't know what in the hell good it does. But you should take a very active role in what in the hell they're teaching at the schools. And you should slap down anybody who wants to foster ignorance. Slap down anybody who wants to foster insensitivity. Because, man, we'd all be in the same boat. If you don't have it, it's just because you're lucky. And if somebody else does have it, they have it for one reason and one reason alone. It's because they're not lucky. They didn't luck out like you. That is no reason to hold it against them. It is no reason to ostracize them. It is no reason to punish them. Which, by the way, is also done in very, very sophisticated ways. As an example, it's not at all uncommon when somebody comes down with AIDS that they suddenly lose their insurance, they suddenly lose their jobs. This is intolerable. This cannot be permitted to happen. And it's going to continue to happen unless and until you put your foot down, unless and until you make it perfectly clear as clear can be, that you wish to do your part, that you wish to shoulder the burden, that you will not tolerate, that you will not accept somebody who just happened to run into some bad luck being screwed. It's up to you people. Always has been. It always will be. And again, I'm going to come back and say, I cannot think of a greater gesture of concern. I cannot think of a greater gesture of compassion for Ron and his Debbie than to take some of the things I've just said to heart, to implement them, to change your ways if need be. There is frankly not a damn thing that you or I can do for them right now. They're facing a very, very, very difficult battle. But it might be a little bit easier for them to face that battle. It might be a little bit easier to get up tomorrow morning and the morning after that. It might be a little bit easier to go through the bad days that are surely ahead. If they had the knowledge that maybe, just maybe, their personal suffering, their personal challenge is not without some good, is not without something good coming from it. It would be a hell of a memorial. A living memorial, too, by the way. I don't know what else to say. But please think about it. And don't think too long. Please. I don't know know who's next. Me? You? Somebody else? There's no way of telling. I don't know who's next. But there is that possibility that there won't be somebody else. There won't be a next. At some point in the future. And that day will come faster. That day will come sooner. If we want it to. It's up to you. Please. 576 WSUN in Pinellas and Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. All other areas toll free. 1-800-356-WSUN. It's 2:57.
AM 620 WSUN. Expect the unexpected on the Gary Spivey Show.
Okay, because I'm feeling like this is her influence, and this person sort of misleads her a lot of times, because you'd be real good for her.
Would I?
Yeah, you're kind of stable, and that would be good for her.
Well, she's been wondering, she has been actually a little bit of hesitant lately to tell me how she feels about our relationship.
Right.
And she's asked for some time off, and I've been kind of going crazy here in Tampa, wondering what's going on, and she won't open up to me.
Right. What I would do, if you want to make this work, call her up and say, you know what, I'd love to go on a trip. Do you want to go somewhere fun, okay?
Okay.
You need to go on a trip for 2 days, and I think you can get everything back in control again.
You are stupendous.
The Gary Spivey Show. Weeknights at 6 on AM 620 WSUN. Entertaining talk radio for the 90s.
This holiday season, some stations will give you gifts. Some stations will give you cash. But this station is going to give you your most relaxed Christmas ever. Because we're going to help you simplify your holiday shopping. Just be the 10th caller when you hear this sound. And we'll come to your house in the dead of night and rob you blind.
Clean you out.
You won't have to worry about what to get anyone this year, because you won't have a dime left to buy anything.
So when people ask you, hey, what did you get me? You can proudly say,
nothing. Hey, I don't have any money.
And just to make it more convincing,
say, hey, can I borrow a quarter?
Employees of this station are not eligible to be robbed blind in the dead of night, since we rob them blind every payday.
Simplify your holiday shopping.
No money, no gift, just lots of shiny new quarters. Keep listening for your chance to lose everything.
7 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, Tuesday, December the 20th, 1994. Could be an interesting afternoon. It could really, really be an interesting afternoon. It could be the kind of afternoon that, we'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that, judging from some of the off-air response. We'll just leave it at that. Let's go to Parrish. Hi there, Parrish. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I feel sorry for that family with the condition, with the news of that he brought out.
Yeah.
And there's other people that have other conditions, like RSDS, that most people don't know or care to hear about. And the other thing is, the schools aren't really teaching sex at all, from what I've heard from friends that have gone to high school.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time that we get at a school system that has some type of education for the kids for the sex.
Pauses are killing me, man. Let's go to Bradenton. Hi, Bradenton. You're on the air at WSUN.
How you doing, Bob?
Okay.
Good. Listen, are you worried that I read somewhere that as far as statistics, Florida's like number one as far as number of cases, New York is second, and California's third?
Oh, I believe you're talking about Miami.
Okay,
South Florida, yeah.
Yeah, that's scary right there. You know, I had a friend that works in a clinic, and she's told me that the cases are really just, calculating real high. For example, there's like high school students being tested HIV, and supposedly they're telling the doctor that they only had sex like 1 or 2 times, and they tested positive. You know, that's scary right there. I know one high school that I'm not going to mention the name, but it was being reported that 25% of the high school students there were tested positive.
Well, it's why I suggest that no longer can we assume that 13, 14, 15-year-old children can, with only the most superficial information, sit down and be able to come to their own conclusions about how this disease can be passed. They must be told in no uncertain terms.
But, Bob, I mean, like you said in your monologue, the logical way, but it's unrealistic, is through aspartame. With the word, with no sex at all.
Mm-hmm.
But how many people, like you said in your monologue, they're going unrealistically about it, right?
Well, whether it's realistic or not, people still have a right to know how to protect themselves from this disease, how this disease can be transmitted.
And it's scary to hear that, by year 2000, every person or something like that will know someone personally that's a close friend that's HIV positive.
It's very scary. How much longer are we going to put up with this crap? How much longer are we going to allow people who are just uptight and live in a fantasy world to dictate the educational process, the educational methods in this country?
Yeah. Because, Bob,
it's got to stop.
To be honest with you, Bob, I first heard of AIDS back in the early 80s, like 85. Then I read somewhere that it's been reported supposedly 10 to 15 years prior to that.
Well, there were diseases that they didn't know what it was, and in hindsight, in retrospect, they're saying, oh, yeah, that must have been AIDS. Mm-hmm. If you want to go back, to the early 70s, that's in essence what they're talking about. Oh, this person came in, had this, had that, died. Geez, we didn't know what the hell caused it. It must have been AIDS. They're backtracking.
Mm-hmm. And, another thing is that I took one of my English courses I took in college, and we were talking about, the teacher was talking about AIDS, and one of the classmates said that she used to work at a clinic where that people wanting to get tested to see if they were HIV positive, it was like a waiting period of like at least a minimum to like 4 to 5 weeks.
Unreal.
Yeah, in the clinics, in addition to that, I read in the paper, I don't know when, but I came across where that they're having a hard time, some places getting funds to build new clinics because the cases are really skyrocketing high, and that they need more clinics funded to help treat the patients, people testing positive.
Thanks for the input, dude.
Take it easy.
13 minutes after the hour. False time check, Jeffy. 576 WSUN in Pinellas and Hillsborough. 221 WSUN. Let's go to Clearwater. Hi, Clear. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hello, Mr. Lassiter.
Yes, hello.
Hi, my name is Charlene Chatham. I'm an attorney in Clearwater, and my practice is mainly dealing with the gay community and with the AIDS community. And I was listening to your monologue earlier. I happened to be at home sick, and I was listening, and I was very moved by some of the things you said. I have to commend you on your tolerance and your patience and your understanding. So many times I have people come into my office who have family and friends who hear about their illness and who are rejected and who have to go through this ordeal alone. And it's very hard because, at least from my standpoint, when they come into my office, they're strangers. I don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
But over the period of time that I deal with them, from the time I help them with their legal documents until they die, they become friends. And it's very hard. You get to know them and love them and know that they're kind and gentle people. I tell my friends, or anytime I lecture, I tell people that to have AIDS takes a great deal of courage, that people with AIDS are not sissies. They're very courageous people. They fight the good fight, and it's amazing to watch them. I have a great deal of respect for them. Not only do they have to battle a disease that knows no lifestyle or social group, it's simply a virus, that hits someone by accident. Not only do they have to deal with that and the fact of their own mortality, but they also have to deal with society and the people who reject them and the families who don't want to see them and who don't realize what they're doing until it's too late many times. And it's real sad. I know when I first started my practice, most of my clients who came in with AIDS were from the gay community. But now, after about 5 years of practicing, I'm seeing more and more families come to me. I'm seeing people with small children. There are times when I see not only the mother and the father with AIDS, but also the children. And it's real sad, and people don't realize how vulnerable they are and how, there but for the grace of God go any of us.
Precisely.
I find it a miracle to watch the courage that I see, because so many people that I have as clients who are infected are just so strong. They want to make their life mean something, and since they know they have a terminal illness, I see them taking steps to improve not only their own life, but trying to help others. I mean, I see a great many HIV-positive people who are out there helping with the AIDS organizations, such as the AIDS Coalition of Pinellas or the Tampa AIDS Network, and they're giving of themselves. Even though they're sick, they're trying to help other people. It amazes me how courageous and giving they are.
Well, the only thing I would ask of people, I'm not going to be unrealistic and ask people to, bring AIDS patients into their homes, or to, take all of their spare money and give it to AIDS research, or to out and march every spare moment they have for AIDS awareness. I'm not going to ask people to do any of that. All I would ask is that when some idiot organization wants to stifle education about how this disease is spread, stop them. When some unsensitive, uncaring buffoon wants to make light of it, stop them.
Well,
That's all I would ask, and I can't think of a greater gift that we can give to those who have already been afflicted than to try to genuinely and truly stop the spread and the stigma of this disease.
One thing I can tell you that I found rather shocking, about 5 years ago, I wasn't in private practice. I was working for a health insurance corporation. And I believe that you'll find that your health insurance companies across the board have the best statistics about what's going to happen in the future as to our health. And what I found that astounded me 5 years ago was that at that time, the number 9 killer of adolescents age 18 to 24 was AIDS. And the number 7 killer of infants 0 to 4 was AIDS. I don't think people realize that. We're seeing more and more in our community, in the AIDS community and in the straight community. We're finding more and more adolescents that are being infected, and many of them are being infected because they're ignorant. They don't know. The schools aren't allowed to teach them about AIDS and about sex. The parents refuse to believe that their child could come down with this disease. And let's face it, at that age...
Well, exactly. I'm sitting there at the conference table before the show today, and I'm mindlessly just, what I'm talking about. I could pass it along. Look at that nail. That nail's pretty damn sharp. I could scratch somebody. Or if my partner... Oh, my God. These are the kinds of things. This stuff about, well, be sure to wear your condom, or don't fornicate. Ain't going to help you. It ain't going to help you. You've got to know precisely. These children cannot be expected to think that way. They have to be taught.
One comment that I'd like to make, too, before you let me go here. It amazes me that, so many people go through their lives and they don't think about AIDS. They think it's the gay community, it's the other guy, it's somebody else, it's a prostitute, or it's a drug dealer, or it's a black person. Because let's face it, those are the communities that have been hit the hardest. But then when they suddenly hear about a person with some renown, either the wife of someone who's rather famous in our community, such as today with Mr. Diaz, or Rock Hudson, or whoever, suddenly they become aware of, hey, there's this thing out here that could kill me and could kill my children. And it takes that, unfortunately, to get some awareness.
Or we go to the movie theater and watch somebody pretending to have AIDS on the screen and cry our full hearts out.
Yeah. There are a couple of organizations right now in the holiday period who I've been affiliated with who desperately could use some help. We have the AIDS Coalition of Pinellas up here in Clearwater, who helps to provide. We're not talking just Christmas presents to people. We're talking about basic needs. So many people don't realize that many, many AIDS patients die destitute, and many of them go hungry. and basic things such as food and clothing are not at their disposal. If we didn't have ACP there to help us, I don't know what would happen to them. They'd be on the street. We also have an organization called Kappa, which has a program at Christmas time called April's Christmas. It's named after a little girl who died of AIDS a couple of years ago, and it helps children who are affected by AIDS. These can be children who either have the disease or they have parents who have the disease, so they will be affected by it. I know last year we adopted out several hundred children, to people in the community who were kind enough and generous enough to provide these children with a Christmas because their parents were destitute. It was all they could do to provide food for them. And this year we've got a list of over 300 AIDS-affected children just in this county who, if people don't step in and help us, we won't have anything for those children for their holiday. And I would urge anybody out there to open their hearts and their wallets and help Kappa and ACP. And if they need those numbers, I'm more than happy to leave them with your staff. And
go ahead, give them right now, because I do have to move on. I'm getting real late here, but please give them right now.
Okay, I didn't realize I was going to say that, so hang on just a second and I'll get it for you.
In that case, I'll put you on hold and you can give them to Jeffy.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
And God bless you and have a great Christmas and holiday.
You too.
And I have this one number for Kappa. It's 321-1211. And for the AIDS Coalition, oh gosh, I'm sorry to do this to you. It's 449-2437.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's a wonderful show.
Take care. It's 321.
And now. So if I said anything to hurt or alarm anybody, let's just forget about it.
You gave me a full body slam.
All right, let's drop it. The important thing
that
is...
was another thing you did.
The important thing is we had a wonderful Christmas party.
You came up to my wife with your tongue out, and you were flicking it at her.
Just your wife? I'd say half the wives. You took a leak on the ice sculpture.
Was that before or after Paulo crushed it in the street?
You said you were trying to carve it yourself.
Be sure to listen to Ron Diaz and Ron Bennington weekday mornings only on the Ron and Ron Show.
Ron and Ron are back 6 to 10 weekday mornings on AM 620 WSUN. Entertaining talk radio for the 90s.
This Christmas, get ready for a different kind of holiday special. Rankin Bass is proud to present
Sparky the Christmas Leech really sucks a lot of blood. And if you ever saw him, you would probably turn and run.
Yes, from the creators of Rudolph and Frosty comes that lovable character, Sparky the Christmas Leech.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
It's fun for the entire family as Sparky and Timmy battle impossible odds in their epic quest to find Santa Claus.
Ho, ho, ho! Mary! Hey, what's the matter, Timmy?
My friend Sparky's sick. He's all shriveled and pale. I think he's gonna die.
Oh, don't cry, Timmy. Why don't you...
Gee, thanks, Santa. Sparky looks completely well again. Santa? Santa!
It's Sparky, the Christmas Leech, premiering tonight right after Benny the Hanukkah Floopworm on ABC.
25 minutes after the hour, let's go to Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WSUN. Hello, Tampa.
Hello, Bob.
Yes.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Well, I don't know if you'll talk to me or not. I'm a little bit nervous because I have a minor speech problem, but if you want to talk, I'd sure like to. About Bennington and Diaz on a whole different light of what's going on. And make you and the public aware of another side of it, if I may.
Go ahead, please. Asshole. 576 WSUN in Pinellas and Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. All other areas toll free. 1-800-356-WSUN. Winter Haven. Hi there, Winter Garden, I should say. Hi there, Winter Garden. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Mr. Lassiter.
Hi.
I'd like to thank you for today's show. Mr. Diaz,
I've invited him to my house every morning, my car on the way to work. He's like a buddy of mine. And I just, I feel really bad for him. And when, you're saying how we should think about all the other people inflicted with AIDS, and if you don't ever have somebody, you don't know anybody, then it's not, a big thing or anything. And
oh, you've got a point, man.
And I'd like to just thank you. About time, and I just want to send my best out to the Diaz family. And thank you, Mr. Lassiter.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
576 WSUN up in Ellison, Hillsboro, 221 WSUN. Let's go to Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob. I'm sorry, I've never listened to your program before. I've never really listened to the station before. I saw on the news today about what was going on, so I tuned in and heard part of the Hooter show and part of, I guess, and I heard your monologue, I guess. I think that it is time for us to get back into the public school system and start reteaching or start to teach the young people again about those basic values, to wait until marriage, that sex does, sex out of wedlock does have consequences, especially in this day of AIDS, when so many people are afflicted like this. I think...
Well, that's all fine and well, too, but you also have to teach them how those consequences are arrived at.
Well,
they've got to know.
Exactly. I mean, we have to be teaching abstinence,
No, we also have to teach how the disease is passed.
Well, exactly. And a lot of people do believe that using a condom is safe sex. There's really no such thing as safe sex. The only type of safe sex is abstinence, and that's what we should be teaching. It's about getting those...
I don't think you heard a word I said, did you?
It's about getting those basic...
No, you didn't hear a word I said. You just want to go right ahead with your little agenda. Just push, 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 push. Just get on the air and push. Abstinence, abstinence, abstinence. Abstinence is fine, sir, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. However, to send children out onto the streets not knowing exactly how this disease can be passed is equivalent to giving them a death sentence. And you don't mind that, do you?
No, I do.
Bye. It's 8:28.
Velcro to the roof of my mouth. Here, let me pull it off. See? Oh, it's stuck again.
The Saliva Donor Bank needs your help. When you work up a mouthful of saliva and are tempted to swallow it, don't. Spit it into a jar, and when that jar is full, bring it into the Saliva Donor Bank. We'll distribute your saliva to those in need.
I used to have dry mouth, but now, thanks to the Saliva Donor Bank, I have more saliva than I could ever imagine. Not only can I soften my own food, I can soften the food of others at the table with me. And best of all, I can now help others the way others once helped me. Oh, sorry.
The Saliva Donor Bank. Please drool generously.
3:32 the time. So I don't listen to the station, but I saw this thing on the news today, and so I thought I would rush right over and, push my pie-in-the-sky hogwash ideas on you. Well, sir, guess what? I am not in total disagreement with you. Abstinence, of course, is the solution to stopping the spread of AIDS. And I highly recommend to all young people that they abstain from sex. As a matter of fact, sir, let me take it a step further. I would recommend to the vast majority of married couples that they abstain from sex, because I'm telling you, while it feels good, it causes so damn many problems you can't begin to see straight. And if we would all just sit home and masturbate in the privacy of our own bathrooms and stop all of this sex crap, we would have far, far, far fewer problems. And I'm not kidding you. However, it's pie-in-the-sky hogwash. And while abstinence might be very, very good advice, and it is good advice, by the way, for 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds and maybe 19-year-olds and maybe 20-year-olds, what are these people supposed to do, sir, if they don't get married right out of high school and they find themselves at the age of 27 or 31 or 44 in a sexual situation? What are they supposed to do, sir? Have you ever been overcome with a feeling? Oh, my God. Have you ever been so crazy in love? So head over heels crazy in love about someone? So deep, deep, deep in passion. Has it ever happened to you, sir? Probably not. Because if it had, you wouldn't be talking about silly-ass pie-in-the-sky ideas of abstinence. That's the way to go, only in the sanctity of the marriage bed. Am I to believe, sir, that a marriage certificate somehow makes you immune to contracting AIDS? I don't think it does. Only in the pie-in-the-sky world does it make you immune. Young people must know the various different ways that this disease can be passed on. Whether they need the advice tonight or need the knowledge 10 years from today, it doesn't make any difference. As long as the parts work, as long as there is a possibility that they can become involved in the act, they have got to know the rules. And people like you, people with thoughts like yours, are condemning decent young men and women to death. It is despicable, and it is more than time to take your kind and shove them where they belong, back in their holes. Let's go to New Port Richey. Hi, New. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hello, Bobby.
Hi.
I have a 17 and a 15-year-old, and this scares me to death.
It ought to. Under any circumstances or conditions.
Yeah, there's so many things going on in this world as far as violence and schools. I don't want to sound ignorant, but I talked to both my boys about the AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
There should be more done, though. I mean, I learned today, just listening to Ron and Ron, listening to the Hooter Girls, and now with you, I've learned more, and I tried to teach them, but I don't know enough about it. I think it should be done in schools to, teach these kids. I mean, like this guy said, abstinence is great, but it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And on top of that, okay, that's great advice for that 15-year-old, but what is he supposed to do 10 years from now?
Exactly. And, I wish it would happen. Like I said, I talked to him about protection. I mean, if they're going to do it, I'd rather have them protected and knowledgeable, than dead 10 years down the line.
That's for sure.
And I think it needs to be put into schools. Like in
all schools, by the way, any school that applies for a state license should be required to teach a comprehensive course on sex education and the spread of sexually transmitted diseases.
Yes, like I said, I'm not that knowledgeable of it, and I learned a lot today, and I like to pass on my boys. If they're in school, maybe they can teach me something.
Maybe they can.
Ignorance doesn't go anywhere, and if they learn, and, that's the way we're going to stop it. Abstinence is not part of it, because when you're a teenager, that's the last thing that goes through your mind.
Well, again, it's great advice, and I certainly don't argue with teaching young people that this is the best way, people. This is the only way that you can be absolutely positively sure is keep your distance from any other human being. I have no problem with that, but to teach that and that alone is issuing death sentences, and it's not fair, it's not right.
Yes, and it does scare me to death, and like I said, I would go to the schools, talk to them, whatever, to get, regular class in the schools, like science, reading, whatever, because, what good is reading going to do you 10 years from now if, you have this disease?
That's for sure.
Put it in a science class, I don't know, but I just wanted to put my 2 words in, and I appreciate it, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
One line open, it happens to be the 800 line, 1-800-356-WSUN. Excuse me. Let's go to a cell phone. Hi, Cell. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I was kind of wondering, why can't we get away from AIDS as being strictly an STD and move it into a biological standpoint and teach the kids about it in biology class?
I don't care where you teach it, man, but we have got to make them aware of all the possible ways it can be transmitted.
Exactly. It just seems that the parent groups and all these people fighting against teaching the kids all have it stuck to just being a sexually transmitted disease, whereas there's plenty of other biological ways to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids aren't being taught that. And they really need to focus on that, even in a biology class, whatever it takes, to get it away from these parent groups who want to suppress the kids learning about it.
Well, I sit at home and I listen, for example, to the girls on the Hooter Show talking about, rapping the rascal, and oh boy, I'd never do it without this, and I'd never do it without, and I haven't done it, that way in so many years. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. That's all fine and well for that particular end of the festivities. There are other parts of the festivities that can also transmit the disease just as easily.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of stuff that people have to think about. It's the kind of stuff people have to be aware of.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Hey, thank you, dude.
Have a good Christmas.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I'm calling. Hopefully you can help me out. Me and my roommate was diagnosed with HIV over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're lucky. We have each other and we have close families.
Mm-hmm.
In this holiday season, we've been trying to get together. We want like 8 to 10 people with HIV or AIDS that don't have family and friends to come to our house and celebrate Christmas together.
Mm-hmm.
And we've tried contacting different agencies, and we keep getting the runaround. We called his doctor. Hopefully she would be able to get us in touch with some people. And with the confidentiality, of course, she couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what you can help me with is just an agency out there that thinks it's a good idea and could help us to give us a call. I don't want to have my phone number over the air, but if an agency could get us in touch with these people and have a good Christmas all together, we're trying to help and help ourselves.
I understand. Sounds like a good idea to me, man.
But I thought so too, but we're just really not getting any help with it.
Well, I understand your frustration. I also understand the legalities involved.
Well, as far as the doctor, but I figured because they do have pals of people with AIDS, and they want people to help them, and here we're trying. And I'm sure there's an agency out there that's probably listening saying, oh, this is exactly what we want. And that's all I want to do. If an agency could call us with some people that are going to spend the holidays alone, come on over and celebrate together.
Okay, I'll put you on hold. Give your number to Jeffy.
Thank you.
Okay. 576 WSUN in Pinellas and Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. Let's go to Pinellas Park. Hi there, Pinellas Park. You're on the air at WSUN.
Yeah, I got to stay and kill the faggots, get rid of AIDS.
Let's go to Clearwater. Hi, Clear. You're on the air at WSUN.
Yeah.
Excuse me. To that last caller. Merry Christmas, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Most of the calls I've heard so far have been centering around education for children. That's definitely where we need to start. But this is a good example of a married family man who his wife came down with the disease.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Yes, it is.
People think just because they've been married, if you get married, nobody's using condoms. Well, 6-7 years later, you can come down with it.
And just because you took an AIDS test the day before you got married and it showed negative, all that means is that you had not shown positive as of yesterday. That's all it means.
As far as the Hooters girls, they're always preaching, rap the rascal and all that stuff. But every other word out of their mouth is polishing. And you know what they mean. They're not using them for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what you were talking about.
No, I could sit here for the remainder of the show and cite examples as to how, in what appeared to be the most unthreatening ways the disease can be transmitted.
Well,
I can sit here for the rest of the show thinking of these.
I think that somebody needs to have a show and be real blunt and spell it out exactly how you catch it, how to prevent it. They pussyfoot around it saying safe sex, but people think that just means
rapping the rascal.
Rapping the rascal. They don't know what other things that they probably participate in that spreads it.
Mm-hmm.
And here the what's her name, Jessalyn Elders got fired for talking about masturbation.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I didn't particularly care for Mrs. Elders, if you really must know the truth. However, the fact of the matter is, to assume that woman was referring to literally teaching masturbation methods in the public schools is utterly absurd. But we are such an uptight sexual society that bam, the woman's blown out.
Right. There was a political cartoon in the paper the next day a boy and a girl walking down the street, and the boy said, "Oh, I can't believe that elder's what a jerk talking about masturbation." And then he looked at her and said, well, "By the way, when's the baby due?"
Exactly.
You know.
Good point.
Thanks, Bob.
Hey, thank you. 576 WSUN in Pinellas and Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. It's 344.
And now, here with a special Christmas message, the immortal Elvis.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. This here is the King. I know I haven't been around much for a while, but I want y'all to know that up here in rock and roll heaven, I'll be thinking of you this Christmas. I'd like to give y'all a special Christmas message. A message of peace. Like, how about a little piece of that pie going by? Thank you. Thank you very much. Like I was saying, Christmas is a time of hope, a time of joy, a time for loving. And I sure would love a big slice of that feature you got there. Okay. What was that? What is that? Oh, yeah, Christmas. Now, Christmas to me means family. And family means friends. And friends means getting together. And getting together means eating. Oh, pass me that drumstick, would you please? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And I just want to say to you right now, you know, I may be a big star, maybe too big, but ain't nobody so big you can't reach out a helping hand. Hand. Would you hand me a helping of those mashed potatoes over there, would you please? Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, like I was saying, ain't nobody so big you can't stoop to help a friend in need over the holiday season. Now, speaking of season, you want to pass me that salt sugar when you get the chance? Thank you. Yeah, just unscrew the cover. That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this Christmas, why don't y'all take a tip from old Elvis? No, leave those steak tips right where they are. You know what I mean? No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I want you to remember, we're all part of God's great big family. And you know God made man unto his own image. And look in the mirror, I'd have to say God must be a big, big son of a gun. You know what I mean? I think you do. But I especially want y'all to remember this one last thing. When you're all at home this Christmas, stringing that popcorn up on the tree, save a big, big bowl for the king. Extra butter, know what I mean? I think you do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, are you sick of cable TV's high rates? Can't say as a blame. You sick of letting your cable company choose your channels? How about all the times the cable system just is out? Then why not join the 20th century? Switch to a satellite. You can buy a satellite dish for as little as $22 a month, and you don't even have to put any money down. When you're through paying for it, you own it. It's yours forever. Control your own life. Choose from hundreds of available channels with a satellite system from Satellite Depot. Satellite Depot carries many types of satellite systems, and they sell them at wholesale prices. Satellite Depot also has the newest in satellite technology, the 18-inch RCA dish, for as little as $14 a month. Get all the details. Give them a call. Call Satellite Depot today at 1-800-393-7359. 1-800-393-7359. And by the way, if you still, you're just not really sure about this and you don't want to make the big commitment, you can rent a system for as little as $5 a month at Satellite Depot. 1-800-393-7359. Let's go to Bradenton. Hi, Bradenton. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi. I wanted to comment on why I wear my red ribbon.
Okay.
I wear my red ribbon because I volunteer in a local middle school.
By the way, please don't misunderstand what I said. It's just not my speed. I'm not putting you down for wearing your red ribbon. Okay.
That. But the children ask me why I have it on. They don't know what it's for.
Oh, okay.
And I think it leads into me being able to say something. And on that note, in our local middle school, I tried to get an AIDS program started.
Mm-hmm.
I had 5 families show up. That's all that showed up. I had a panel come down from the Tampa AIDS Network, 5 families. And I just couldn't believe that was, all the concern. So what I did, my children, I have 2 teenage children. I've talked to them. My husband's talked to them. And yesterday, I took one of them to the doctor, and he, talked to them. And I'm going to give them all the information and a box of condoms because I don't want them to die.
Exactly. I more than understand parents being upset and uptight at the mere thought of their children being sexually active. I more than understand that. I'm completely aware of how it's something you'd love to avoid. Oh, God, love to avoid that. Yeah, death is something else you'd like to avoid, too.
Absolutely. And when you have teenage children, you're a fool if you think just because you tell them to, they're not going to go do anything. And if anyone doesn't remember being 16 and 17 and falling in love and doing things you weren't supposed to be doing, you know, you grow up and get religion, and then you think...
Well, again, let me come back to this point. If they do take your advice and abstain, what about 10 years from now, 12 years from now, 15 years from now, when they find themselves in a situation and they don't have all of the information available to them? What better time than before they start playing the game to explain the rules of the game to them?
Well,
it's too late after you've already been, around the field once or twice.
That's absolutely true. And just 18 months ago, my family buried a 30-year-old. They probably had AIDS for 8 years, the best we can figure.
Yes. And may have passed it on to a lot of other people and might not have had that individual known the entire score.
That's right. And you just can't take anything for granted anymore, and you're not doing your children any service whatsoever.
I mean, it doesn't
Close your eyes and open the Bible. And I live in a very Southern Baptist area, and I hear it, and I hear it, and I hear it, and I just think y'all don't...
It doesn't make me happy, the thought of the, spending valuable education time when you might be teaching them trigonometry. That doesn't make me happy, but ignoring it is not going to make it go away.
Well, I don't think in our county that you'll ever see it really talked about.
What a tragedy.
I agree.
A total tragedy. It's beyond a tragedy. It is a travesty.
And all we have to do is educate.
That's all.
That's all.
So is it going to stop it? No. Is it going to slow it down? Yes. And if it's slowed down, then it will eventually stop.
That's right. And if it's not your kids, you're going to thank God that you bought that box of condoms and showed them how to use them.
Hear, hear.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
576 WSUN in Pinellas or in Hillsborough, 221 WSUN, or toll-free statewide, 1-800-356-WSUN. Dunedin, hi, Dun, you're on the air at WSUN.
Yeah, Bob, I've been listening for about 20 minutes. Some of these people, I just don't understand. Are they ignorant or... I mean, I was listening this morning at 7 o'clock, and I didn't know what happened because I went to work right when they were about to announce it, and I just got out of work about 3:30. And I didn't even know what was going on until I just called your board man, I guess. But it's got me pretty upset. And these people...
Got us all upset, man.
These people are so ignorant. They think, well, buy a box of condoms and the world is safe. It doesn't happen that way, man.
Or, teach little kids to abstain and the world's safe. No, it's not.
I've got little nephews and cousins, and they're 12 years old. I mean, they're not starting 15, 16 like when I was in school. These kids are 12 years old. They have no idea what's going on. I mean, they talk about, I never agree with you on a lot of things, but this is one thing I really agree with you on. And I think even... not so much as being in school, but even starting at home, with the parents and everything else. Because, well, let me take, for instance, my wife's mother. She had a very good friend that just passed away with AIDS, and kind of upset me. But she's got a 12-year-old son. He was pretty close to the guy. And I guess it took that to hit home. But he's still out, and he's still... he's got girlfriends. I mean, he's out, he's messing around. He has no idea. I mean, you can tell him, you drill it home to him, but I still think they're too young and too immature. They really don't have any control over their destiny at that age. Hey,
man, there's a lot of 32-odds out there that are pretty immature and don't have a clue either.
Well, that's their own fault.
Yeah, it is their own fault. There's not a hell of a lot that we can do about that.
There's not much you can do with that, but as far as the schools, I agree with that. But even maybe, what about getting the parents into the school with the kids or some... I just don't know if there's anything that can actually get through to them.
I don't care how it's done, but it's got to be done in detail.
There has to be something done.
Got to be. Hey, thank you, dude.
All right, buddy.
Be good. 576 WSUN Pinellas, Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. Toll free statewide, 1-800-356-WSUN. It is 3:57.
Let's Rudolph's nose lead the way to bring toys on Christmas Day. bells are ringing. The night drives those reindeer down. When all the people are singing, they go, fa-la-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Night drives those reindeer down. Jingle bells are ringing. Night drives those reindeer down.
7 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock. A Tuesday, December the 20th, 1994. I, the magnificent Lassiter, behind the microphone. Jeffy in the other room, and Sharon Taylor over there in the newsroom. How's it going, Sherry?
Okay, Bobby.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a kind of an okay day. Just an okay day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always amaze me at your eloquence, Bobby. Sometimes I forget.
Well, you know, Sharon, I'm reaching a point in life where, of course, I'm slowly sinking into the venerable position, well, maybe it is a vulnerable one, of elder statesman. And I was sitting there this morning, when I heard people saying, oh, geez, I wish, Lassiter could say this, I wish I could say that like Lassiter, thinking that in essence I'm becoming the Georgie Jessel of the 1990s, And unfortunately, most of the audience has no idea who in the hell Georgie Jessel is. Well, actually, I guess it is fortunately. He was a horrible person. But Georgie Jessel was a man that in this country whose claim to fame is when bad things happened, people hired Georgie Jessel to come by and say a few words.
That could be you. He'll always have a future doing
But
that.
unfortunately, Georgie had a very big nose. Had several years of drinking under his belt, and so consequently his speech was somewhat slurred.
Yes, he did have a very irritating voice. I remember that. That was kind of about it.
You do remember Georgie.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go to Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WSUN.
What's up?
Not much.
I think you're kind of barking up the wrong tree here with this education. I mean, I don't care if you educate them, but I really don't think that's the problem. I think people know they can get AIDS. They feel that it won't happen to them. Obviously, this lady who contracted it, she was an educated lady. She understood. I don't know how she got it. I don't care. What I think we need to be concentrating on is getting the government to get some money up and go after this thing. You can educate people all day long. You can have safe sex with a condom. It can break. There's a million things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, it boils down to if you meet somebody, say you meet a girl today, and you use a condom for the next 6 months, and maybe you never get tested, and then sooner or later in that 6 month period and all the sex you're having, sooner or later it's going to be done without a condom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm for educating, that's fine, but, it's like the thing, if we educate people, they won't have kids because they don't know. They know how to get pregnant. They know when they have sex they can get pregnant, and they still have it. So people think it won't happen to them and say it won't happen to me.
You make several good points. The thing... obviously I haven't even called for a cure. I guess I
want a cure because
I do too, man. I guess I mildly alluded to it during the course of the monologue. But the reason I didn't sit here and harp cure is we can improve the education tomorrow. I don't know how long it's going to take for the cure.
Well, if we get some money together and attack this thing like it needs to be attacked, with several countries that are rich countries putting tons of money together, put the space shuttle on the ground for a while, and go after this thing. Get the best scientists in the world, give them the money, set up a Manhattan Project if you need, whatever. That's what we need to be demanded.
Well, it only seems... I don't have a scientific mind.
Well, I'm
but
a
it only
microbiologist,
seems,
and I understand, and there's other diseases on the way after we cure this one.
But it only seems logical to me that if something can go wrong, then it can also be cured, or be fixed, or whatever it might be, or arrested, or something.
It can be. It's a virus, and it can be, but it takes money and research, and we've been spending so much of our money on missiles and this and that the microbial aspect has not been concentrated on to the degree it should be, and we've got other viruses out there that are coming up after this one. And if we don't get on it, we're going to have some serious trouble. So, to me, you can.
We got serious trouble.
Well, yeah, we do, but we have to find the cure for this virus. And the way to do that is money, and get the best scientists in the world, and bring them together and put them in one building where they can talk. When they're at lunch, they can talk, where ideas can be exchanged or whatever. But that's what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. One line open, 576 WSUN up in Ellis and Hillsborough, 221 WSUN. Let's go to Clearwater. Hi, Clear. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm a first-time caller, and I was driving to work this morning and listening to the Ron and Ron show, and I was truly touched by what all happened today. I'm 24 years old, and I've pretty much grown up in the Bay Area. And I'm a young person, and I'm thinking about my future, and I get sidetracked with bills and getting ahead and
we all do, man.
Forgetting about what the holiday season is all about. And, you know, my heart's really went out to them. And, you know, we're all growing up in these crazy times no matter what age we are. And I think that education and money towards a cure are all great ideas. But the thing I wanted to focus on by calling today was that I was truly touched, and that, you know, sometimes I know that when I hear something like this and it takes me aback, you have to really think about your fellow man, and, you know, that we are all in this thing together, and that the more we pull together and try and focus on the positive and come together, we can make a change and a difference, and maybe soar over ignorance that runs rampant at our community, obviously, from just listening to your show. Some of the callers, you know, I get angry too, and I enjoy it when you cut them off.
Well, the temptation in the monologue to expand upon the topic, to make it, you know, even make it political was overwhelming, because in essence what I said is when you get AIDS, it's because you got bad luck. But the problem is almost all things that happen to people really amount to nothing more than bad luck.
Absolutely. I mean, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Here.
I think of that quite often. There's been things in my life or decisions that I've made, and, you know, I've had to live by them or suffer whatever consequences might have happened. But lots of times it has just been dumb luck, you know. Sometimes you just, the dice fall where they fall, and there's nothing but, you know, a power greater than myself that's making those decisions. And, you know, I think that it's important for me as well as for everyone to focus in on how, you know, that sometimes life just deals the cards the way they lay, and you have to reach a hand out and maybe help a friend out or help a person out or just by, you know, extending a little love to our fellow man.
Well, exactly. The thoughts that were running through my mind this morning is I find myself, you know, and I've shared this with you guys before, but I find myself becoming less and less and less compassionate and more intolerant of people, and it's a really major problem with me. I mean, I feel really bad about it. And I'm sitting there this morning, and I'm listening to all of this unfold, and it's a total shock to me. I had no idea what... I knew something was wrong, but I had no idea what was wrong. I never suspected this. And, you know, my heart is filled with compassion. And I'm thinking, God, man, she ran into some bad luck. She ran into some bad luck, and almost everybody that's got problems runs into bad luck. And what do we do in this country? We blame the people who had the bad luck, you know?
Absolutely. I think that being a younger person growing up in this country, I see a lot of finger pointing, you know, on the TV, on
national pastime.
Everybody wants to pass the buck, and you know, it's time that we all need to step up and take responsibility for our own actions and help others out. And accepting their, you know, what life deals them. I mean, we can't get anywhere passing the buck, and you know, we have to step up and we have to do something. We have to make a difference and make a change. And
you know, again, I'm sitting there this morning, and there are tears in my eyes, and it suddenly dawns on me, I've only cried for 2 AIDS victims.
Absolutely.
You know, Tom Hanks in Philadelphia and a woman I've never met.
Absolutely. You know, I cried in the movie Philadelphia myself, and, you know, I cried this morning. And I haven't come across anyone close to me or a personal experience with the HIV virus or with full-blown AIDS, but I know that in the future that's going to happen to me. And when I hear things like this today or see them on the TV, it really does take me aback, and it makes me think about my own personal what's important to me, and what can I do. And I guess it was kind of like you were saying that, you know, I'm not going to maybe wear a ribbon or go do this or go do that, but I can be a little less judgmental towards my fellow man, and I can extend a hand, and
a little less tolerant of ignorance.
Absolutely. And you know, there is a lot of ignorance in the world, and you know, it frustrates me. I mean, I've listened to your show before, and you know, I hear some people, they just come up with some of the most off-the-wall stuff I've ever heard, and it's kind of like, you know, we all go through life once, and it's a learning experience, and I really believe that that's what we're here to do, is learn. And if, you know, someone is willing to extend a hand to me and maybe share some experience or strength or hope with me, and see how it can benefit my life, I know that I can do that to the next person. And if enough people get together and do that, I really believe that that overcomes a lot of the ignorance and a lot of the finger pointing, and it'd be a better place to live in.
You may well be the oldest 24-year-old I've ever spoken with or had the privilege of speaking with. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Take care. It's 4:17.
Now, at the office Christmas party, are you often the designated idiot?
So, Jenkins, what's new? Listen, you dirty old bastard. I think your party sucks, this job sucks, and you suck. Really? Well, perhaps you didn't hear. What? You're fired!
This year, don't be a fool. Let the experienced staff at Klondike & Associates handle your public relations.
Listen, fat boy, I believe my client was trying to express his current disenchantment with the world economy. It was nothing personal, sir. Yes, I understand.
Our spin doctors can handle any party mishap, like pissing in the punch bowl, vomiting on the buffet, even insulting the CEO.
Actually, the statement, "I never saw a cow with a mustache till I met your wife," is an old Celtic blessing of good cheer. Klondike, I like you. Jenkins? Yes? You're fired!
If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably us. Call the experts at Klondike & Associates now.
21 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock. Have you tried this coffee yet, Jeffy?
Yes.
Too bad we don't need some furniture in here that needs stripping, you know. Let's go to Lakeland. Hi, Lake. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Got a couple things here. First thing is, I know there was a gentleman on somewhat earlier talking about abstinence and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you had not a crossword to say to him, but I know you got a little discussion with him. I believe that you can preach that, but also along with it preach education.
Precisely. That's what I was trying to get through to him. He wasn't interested in the education, only the abstinence.
Right. I mean, one is just as good as the other. Abstinence is...
I think both have their place. Exactly. Abstinence is damned good advice for teenagers. Exactly. You are opening up an explosive can of worms when you open up the old sexual activity page of your life, and it's damned good advice.
Definitely. And I don't know. I guess that he just didn't want to listen to it, and I just wanted to call up and say, well, my feeling is you can have both. It's great to preach it, but also you can preach the education part too, and try to teach them about, hey, this is how you can stay away from it, or this is what you can do to try to, give you your best shot from, not contracting it. But besides that point is, I just want to, I want to apologize to all the people out there that, that have this deadly disease, that maybe some of us didn't have the heart for it before, and didn't maybe give you a time of day. And I just want to apologize for the ones that acted that way. Well, I apologize.
Hopefully things will change. I'm not sure that they will, but hopefully they will.
Well, I hope so. Believe me, I've been one of the lucky few that I haven't had anybody close to me ever contract anything like this. Not even a friend or anything, so I've been very lucky in that. But if I ever did, I pretty much know how I would feel about it. I've had a father that died of cancer, which, isn't the same disease, but it's still a deadly disease. And it's, that's bad enough as it is, much less for someone young to contract something that they have no control over. And, like I said, I just want to apologize to everybody out there.
Okay, man.
Bye.
Take care. Let's go to Sarasota. Hi, Sarasota. You're on the air at WSUN.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, listen, I'm a first-time caller. I just wanted to let you know that guy that called in a little bit ago said the way to get rid of the AIDS was get rid of all the gays. Evidently, he don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. Doesn't know anything about the disease. And I just want to let you know that I've been following Ron and Ron for quite a while. What's strange about the whole thing is they did a Christmas show at MacDill Air Force Base about 4 or 5 years ago, and I taped that, and I just happened to take it out last night and watch it, and then I come in this morning and hear this, and I just want to let Diaz know that all my love and prayers are going out to him along with everybody else here in Sarasota.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
All right, you guys have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
St. Petersburg. Hi, St. You're on the air at WSUN.
Yeah.